recording. So this will be part 1 to What If Deku was Zamasu. Take 5. Hopefully this one works. So, in order for this to work, when Zamasu and I are killed, we go through an interdimensional loop, and our death would have been to the Omni King. And Vegeta would have been caught in the blast too, and Vegeta was a girl in this one. Yes, fight me. But, so, get transferred into Deku. We do a quick 3,000 push-ups. And by the way, I'm just tired of having to go through the story so many times because of what's happened. But, yeah. So, it'll be speedy, quick, to where I got up to the last point, and then bada bing, bada boom. It'll go at normal pace. But, anywho. So, he does 4 million push-ups. He has a creation quirk, so he creates the hoodie. And then the rest is basically what I'm wearing in the picture, but minus the waist gi thing. But, my pants and the boots. But, yeah. And so, like, she calls him a demon, she doesn't want him, sending him to an orphanage and stuff like that. So, on his way out, because, like, he left, he sees this girl walk out. This girl. And she's like, "Oh, hey, Zamasu." And he's like, "Stay away from me, you insolent fool." And she's like, "Aw, don't be that way. We're just salty because the Omni King killed us." And he just says, "He was only supposed to kill me. You should have lived. You had children to take care of." And she's like, yeah, but it's not like I took care of them anyway." And Zamasu's like, you're right. But anyway, so All Might stops him. All Might takes him to jail. And so he goes to jail. So he stops All Might and he's like, wait, I have to do something real quick. And he's like, what? He just teleports to where Toya Todoroki was. And if you don't know, manga spoilers, Toya Todoroki is Dabi, which everybody already knew. But, yeah. So, he just stops him from committing suicide because he says, hey, dude, isn't there somebody special in your life? Isn't there somebody you care about? And he's like, yeah, but he's caused them all so much pain. Me as well. And then he just says to him, well then, rise up, defeat him, take care of the ones that you love, take care of the ones that you wish to protect, take care of the ones who you hold close. And he just breaks down into tears because he was about to kill himself. And this is a serious matter, so if any of you consider doing that, then at least let one person that you truly do trust know. And if you don't feel comfortable telling any of your family members, then there are a lot of suicide help lines. Go to one of them. Just because you may seem like you're the only one that's going through something rough doesn't mean that you can't be helped. back to the story. Sorry for that little, like, heavy note. Like, I'm sorry. But that was the thing that needed to be said. But anywho, so he teleports back to All Might and he says, hey, I can teleport to the prison myself. So he teleports to the prison. And so the officers, they're like, weren't we supposed to be getting a boy that was like just born? And he says, yeah, I was just born. I just have the ability to change my height, appearance, and I have a creation quirk. And they're like, oh, solid, decent, okay. And so they just throw him into a group cell. And y'all are like, hey, hold up. Wait a minute. Won't there be quirk canceling handcuffs? No. Because honestly, the warden don't care if they hurt themselves or others. So they all try to gank up on Deku because they're like, hey, fresh meat. And so they get mollywopped. Simple. Like, he ain't one to mess around with it. Like, you done picked the wrong nigga to fuck with. But yeah. So they're like, but yeah, he knocked them all out because he really didn't want to hurt him. And like, I'm gonna say, like, this one dude has a book, because they do give you stuff in prison and in jail. I know from experience by uncles that have told me the stuff that they do in jail, because I did do some research for this. So yeah. And so they're all like, and so like the prison guards are like, hey, how'd you get that book? And he's like pointing down to all of them. And they're like, huh? Because like they put him in the cell with the most dangerous people on Earth, besides All For One. All For One isn't there. But yeah. So Deku, when they all wake up, he's like, hey, we got off on the wrong foot. Let's be friends. My name is Zamasu. I was born about 2 hours ago. And they're like, born 2 hours ago? Nigga, what? No, you weren't. And he just says, yeah, I can change my appearance. I have a creation quirk. And yeah. But this is what I really look like, besides the height. And he's 6'7". Yeah, 6'7". He'll be about 8 feet. And female Todoroki will be the ship, by the way. But that'll be later on. So, Deku, he goes, and like he makes friends with like everybody in the prison. Like everybody knows him, they all respect him. Like, and so time skip 5 years later, he is like messing around with a couple of his friends, and like the guard says, like with tears in his eyes, hey, Zamasu, you gotta go. And he's like, what do you mean I gotta go? You're all like my family. And he says, well, you've been released because there really weren't any charges against you. And it was just, you were just called a villain because of what you look like. That's what the lady who is your mother just called, because she didn't like the way that you looked. And Inca will be the number 2 hero, and All Might will be the number 1 hero, because that's their mother and father. And so he's like, alright. And so, like, everybody, they say, like, you have 5 hours to leave or you'll be forcefully moved. And he says, we all know that none of you can move me. As he chuckles. And they're all like, yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, Deku, he has multiple personalities. He has split personality disorder. And so, Deku, like, he found a way to basically, like, if one of the other personalities takes over, to where he can just, like, go into his mind and, like, completely beat the crap out of the one that's trying to take over. Like JoJo, ora ora ora, muda 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 style. Like, but yeah, sorry if I'm not as uppy today. But, like, you gotta understand, it's like 3 a.m. This video will probably go up, like, oh, how many hours later? Just whenever I wake up. But, yeah. So, Deku, like, he is, like, leaving. He has, like, a bag over his shoulder with, like, stuff that everybody made him and stuff like that. And, like, one of the dudes from, the cell that he was assigned to a few minutes ago, he was like, hey, Zamasu, what up, dude? And he's like, what? And he says, hey, dude, we all made this for you. Also, why the hell are you so fast? My God. Like, he's, like, legit out of breath. But, yeah. So, Deku, he, like, takes it, and it's, like, basically, it's like a, gauntlet. No, not Infinity Stone. But, there was a, really cool, guy, and, like, he had a creation quirk that was, like, really, 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 really good. And so, was the picture on blur? So, like, basically, he has the gauntlet that's on the right side, and he has 2 of those. And, like, he has this little, like, V-fin type thing on his back. And then, he has the mask like that right there. so he goes, starts, like, basically living the normal life as a vigilante. And, like, he's raising himself on the streets. Like, and so one day, when, like, he's pressed up against a wall, and, like, the All Might and All for One battle hasn't happened yet. It'll be happening soon. He just see this man with white hair, a suit, and, like, the white man, he is white, but the man with white hair says, "Hello, child. Would you like to join me?" He says, "Nigga, who is you? Like, you really want to get folded today? Because I'm in a bad mood." He like, "Oh, a feisty one, are we? That's fine, I'll just put you back in your place." And Deku, like, he laughs. Like, he laughing. He's like, "You put me in my place? Nigga, it's gonna be the other way around." And he's just like, "No, I do not think it will." And Deku just proceeds to show him, "Yes, it will." And he just, like, after he gets the crap beaten out of him by Zamasu, he's still like, "Kid, join me and the League of Villains." And he's like, "Can't, Dad's the number one hero." And they're like, "Your dad is All Might? But he's with Miss Midoriya. And you have green skin. How is that?" And he just explains the whole reincarnation deal. And he's like, "Oh, so you're technically their child, but from a different universe. Still, would you like to join us?" And Deku's like, "Yeah, why not? I at least get to beat the crap out of my old man." And he says, "Yeah, plenty." And he's like, "Nigga, all you had to say was, yep." That's it. That's all you had to say. But, like, before that, Deku, he went through some things. So, like, when he was fighting against, Overhaul killed Eri, and some of her blood splattered on Zamasu. And, like, he went into a berserker state. Like, he legit, and, like, he already had the armor and stuff on. So, like, his eyes start blaring red. Like how, the, Barbatos does. And they're like, "Haha, boss, you beat him. There's so much blood coming out of his eyes." And so, like, he wasn't even being touched by him at that point. So he just gets up, looks at him, looks at Eri's dead body, and says, "You will pay for all of your sins, for everything that you have done." And so, like, he launches at him, like, just grabs him by the throat and just pummel. Like, he's beating the ever-living crap out of this man. Like, it ain't even funny. Like, what he's doing, it ain't even funny. Because, like, it looks so brutal. Like, there's no speck of overhaul left whatsoever. And then he proceeds to kill all of his men. And, like, All Might had arrived. And, like, he sees, this guy that had the, armor gauntlets on. And, like, those armor gauntlets, they allow him to create electricity. But, it, like, basically is, like, Black Panther's suit. So, like, the more punches and hits you get in, the stronger and heavier your punches will get. And, like, the more electricity you can create from your hands. And the mask, that's just there for looking dope. And, like, he looks over, and, like, he sees this man with blaring red eyes. A pale greenish color. White hair. Looking like that. With the hoodie. And with blood on him. And he says, "Who are you?" And he says, "Nothing, just your firstborn child that you decide to abandon. Nothing special." And he's just like, "Firstborn? My firstborn was Aichi." Saichi is his little sister. And she's 5 currently. There is no way that a grown adult man could be my firstborn. And he says, "I'm not an adult. I was born 5 years ago." I was put there by her. The lady that you married. The lady that you love. She made me. And, like, he lets, like, the other personalities just run rampant. Like, he's just like, "You are nothing! How could you be a symbol of peace when you detain your own son? How? Explain!" And, like, it's just popping off. Just, like, they taking turns on this man. Like, All Might, he's getting slandered, and, like, he's legit sad because he realizes, I put my own son through hell. Like, and, like, he's crying a little, and he's like, and, like, the personality that took over, he's like, "Hey, look, you are just a wuss under all that muscle." And so, like, then the personality that took over, they all agree, drag out the body to the middle of the Tokyo Square, which is just what I'm gonna call it, because I don't know if they have something like that. sorry. Forgot I was recording. I was working on my model kit. I'll show y'all a picture, and it'll be as one of my thumbnails. But yeah, so I'll basically be doing a what if Deku was a Gundam, and like basically it'll be the Gundam Vidar. So basically, y'all can do your research right now. That thing looks sick. But yeah. So anyhow, he's just like, look here, people. Your symbol of peace is a whining crybaby. Just because he put his own son in jail 5 years ago. That's sad. Now, isn't it? And they're like, son, I thought All Might didn't have any kids. And he just says, yeah, he had me and 5 other little brats. And they're like, nigga, you had 6 children? How strong they gonna be? And he's like, yeah, and our mother, number 2 hero. I just have a creation quirk, so I was kind of odd, how you say. And like, he still has the mask and the gauntlets and everything on. And he's like, you haven't revealed their face, is what All Might says. And he says, oh, yeah, sorry. Guess you wouldn't recognize your own son now, would you? So like, the mask peels back, and like, he sees like, he's like the Green Man, and he's like, whoa, nigga, that was racist. Like, he's like, I have my boundaries, you gotta have yours. Like, nigga, what you think this is? This ain't no Dragon Ball Z abridged. Like, what you think this is? But, so, here you go. Puts All Might in a chokehold and slams him down on the ground, and he says, that was for those 5 years. Even though they were the best 5 years of my life. The only 5 years of my life. I did enjoy it. So, thank you, in a way. And he just walks off and puts the mask back up. And, like, he just teleports away. Like, man got that drip. But, anywho. And then he goes... But yeah, this is the point where Alpha said all that stuff. And so, Deku, he joins the League of Villains for a minute. But, oh wait, I forgot to mention one thing. So, during all of that, skip it, no, the ship isn't going to be Femme Todoroki. It's gonna be Femme Bakugo. 'Cause why not? So she like had found him one of the days that he was like going out to do things, and like her power level is like super suppressed because like her consciousness did somewhat take over female Vegetos. So like her power level is like that of All For One's, but like if she gets ganked, then she will die. And that's what's about to happen. So, like, she's like, wait, and he's like, no, leave. And so, like, he walks in, like, he already knows what's gonna happen. And, like, she walks in behind him because he didn't know that she was still going after him. because, like, she had completely suppressed her ki. And so, an assassin completely rips her in half, and, like, by the time he sees this, like, he breaks into tears. Like, while he's standing up, he breaks into tears. And then, again, red electricity. And, like, he's gritting his teeth, and he's like, you all deserve to be given penance. And so, he just go ape. Like, simple as that. He going ape. Golden ape? No. Going ape? Yes. Sorry, my throat. I need something to drink. Give me a minute. Hey Alexa, play new Daddy Fat Snaps.
Resuming Amazon Music.
Hey Alexa, turn volume down to 3. Hey Alexa, next song. But yeah. Hey Alexa, next song. Hey Alexa, next song. Hey Alexa, what song is playing? Eh, who cares? We'll find out later. Now that my throat has been fixed. But, yeah. So. Not Deku, Zamasu. Like, he just. Yeah. And so, like, he's really scarred and stuff. And he deems it as All Might and his mother's fault. And so, like, he's like, do you know where All Might lives? And he's like, yeah. And so, Zamasu, like, he takes All For One to the house, and he's like, hey, you can have the first hit. You've been in these longer than I have. And he's like, kid, for somebody that raised himself in prison and on the streets, you have manners. And he's like, yup. I mean, I am a god, technically. And he says, yeah, pretty savage one, too. He's like, damn straight. But, yeah. Yeah. So, All For One, he stabs like one of the kids in the foot, and like the kid's like ah, and like all the kids are like mob psycho, and like the strongest one is Kisame. Yeah, Kisame. And she's a girl. And she was the one that opened the door. So, yeah. And then, like, Deku, he teleports in, and he's like, alright, you got the first hit, man. Now, it's my time. And, like, the little girl's like, who are you? I thought everyone liked our dad. And Deku's like, I may be one of his children, but that doesn't mean I like him. I despise him. Hey man, that filthy whore of a mother. And so, like, he like, he, like, gets a glimpse of Inko, and then, like, he dashes and darts, and, like, he creates electricity around his hand and just punches straight through her. And, like, All Might, like, he walks in through the back door, and, like, he gets blood spattered all over him, and he's like, "Hey, old man." And, like, he's grinning and stuff like that. This my jam. But anywho, so Zamasu, he goes and he just clocks All Might, like, boom. Yeah. Sorry, y'all. I try not to drink during the recording because people don't like that stuff. It sounds like straight up ASMR, and that's the ugliest stuff out there on YouTube. But yeah. So yeah. So Zamasu, he pulls his hand out of Inko, and, like, he heals her, and she's like she's panting and stuff. And then, like, he looks at her, and, like, his pupil, or, like, the part of his eye that has color, and it's, like, gray, shifts to red, and, like, he puts her in a genjutsu. Because he's also the reincarnation of Madara. Yeah, nigga, you heard me. So, Deku, he go, and he just start, like, destruction. Like, hold on. Or no, and, like, he straight up gave that man the injury. All for One didn't get the chance. Like, he beat the crap out of All Might. And, like, the kids, they're all like, Daddy, what's wrong? Because they didn't know that their dad was gonna get whooped by a man that, according to him, is their older brother. And they're like, if you were our older brother, you wouldn't hurt him. And he says, he put me in jail just because of that woman. Just because I was born differently than you. So you punks have no room to talk. Like, that man is just mad. Oh yeah, by the way, Happy Christmas. I mean, Merry Christmas. But yeah. So, Deku, he just go and he just smacks all the kids. Like, he says, that one's for letting her die. That one's for sending me to jail. That one's for letting that little girl die. I tried to save her. I truly did. And then, like, the red electricity starts coming out of his eyes. But, yeah. Hey, Alexa. Play Koro Sensei Rap Roll Call by Daddy Fat Snaps.
Here's Koro Sensei Rap by Daddy Fat Snaps on Amazon Music.
Y'all thank me later. But yeah. So, Deku, he go. And he just stops and he says, I'm a villain because you all made me one. And like Todoroki, Shota's death was a day before this. And so like they were having her funeral like 2 days from now. And so like Deku, he like they like take the body outside to like bury her. And so Deku, like, he teleports there and they're like, who are you? And Deku, he just says, I'm the one that couldn't save her. I'm the reason why she's dead. And so, like, he falls to his knees and starts crying. And, like, Toya, he realizes who he is, and he's like, you saved me all those years ago. You're the one that stopped me from committing suicide. And he's like, yeah, but I couldn't help her. And, like, he's crying, like, a lot.
I see your potential. What a stunning growth ahead. At first, when we were introduced, you could have cut a loaf of bread. Adversity, you overcame, so proud my cheeks.
And, like, the one personality that truly didn't want to do anything with Zamasu, like, he's all like, we're all just shattered pieces of emotion that have grown large enough to be a separate personality, right? And they're all like, yeah, why? And he's like, so if we all fuse, then we'll be whole again, right? And they're like, yeah, you're right. We'll be whole again. Hey Alexa, repeat song.
I'll repeat the song.
But yeah, so he goes, and like they all fuse, and so like Deku, like his eyes switch from the gray to the Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. Or no, they skipped straight to the Rinnegan. And so, Zamasu, he looks back, and, like, he is, like, so saddened, and, like, the Susanoo forms, and, like, his Susanoo is a gray version of Madara's. Here, let me see if I can pull up a picture. It basically is Kakashi's it's the one to the farthest right, so like it's black and gray. But yeah, it looks like that. And then he just basically uses its wings, flies away, to the top of a building and just covers himself up in his own hate. Well, in his own self-hate. And, like, a bunch of heroes, they had, like, followed it. And, like, Mount Lady was sent in. And so they're like, it's just this man crying. And, like, All Might's like, what does the man look like? And she just describes him, and he's like, destroy him now, he's a villain. And they're like, what makes you say that? All he's doing is crying right now. And he's like, he's the one that attacked me. And they're all like, oh crap. Yep, And so, like, they all just start, like, Mountain Lady, she, like, throws him onto the ground, and, like, they all start attacking him. And, like, he's just letting this happen, because, like, he's still crying. And then something clicks in his head. I was the true reason why she died. She died because of my selfish personality. And so, like, when this happens, like, his cries turn into laughter, and, like, he's just laughing. Like, and they're all like, huh? What's wrong with this kid? And they're like, first he was crying, and now he's laughing. And then, like, he gets up, and, like, he's laughing still, and he's like, you all have made the biggest mistake of your life. And they're like, huh? And so, like, he turns his Susanoo on, grabs Mount Lady, knees her face in, kicks her down, and just straight up, and then, like, lightning fist, but yeah. And then he's like, final God punch, and just punches the ground, and, like, it does nothing at first. And they're like, kid, that didn't do anything, that was weak. And he, like, chuckles, and he's like, just wait. And, like, they all just get tased, like, and, like, All Might had just arrived when that happened. And so, like, then he does what he does a Miles Morales finisher on this dude. He sends him up into the air with a kick. Does the explosion move that Gogeta has. Flies up, kicks him up again. And boom! Just strikes him straight in the gut. And, like, he goes into a Small Might. He just grabs him, and, like, he says, and, like, he takes him in front of a bunch of cameras and stuff, and he's like, but before he can, like, turn them on and stuff like that, this little rodent person shoots him in the back with a 9, and he's like, huh? I didn't know that there was a tick on me. And, like, Midnight, like, she has to tear off all of her stuff. And, like, even then, he's still like, you all are nothing. And then, like, they call in, like, all the heroes that have, like, nauseating gas. And, like, they all, like, he just let them spray him for 3 hours, and then, like, he knocked out. Like, he just blanked, and like he fell asleep. They thought they had knocked him out. But in reality, he was just tired. Like, seriously. But, anyhow, so he goes, wakes up, and he's like at UA, and they're all like, hey, would you like to become a hero? And he's like, no. That man is a hero. I despise him. First he sent me to jail. Then he couldn't save her. I couldn't save her. He did nothing. All he did was stand around and enjoy the damn fame. Breaks off the chains that are holding him. And he says, now where is he? I need to kill him. And like Nezu, like he's like, hey, don't do that. And he's like, whose dog is this? Come get your dog. And like Nezu, like he punches him in the shin, and he's like, yeah, whose malnutrition dog is this? And like he gets madder, and like he's like punching him in the leg, and like he picks him up by like the back of his shirt, and he's like, you remind me of her. I won't hurt you, little doggy. And like he's like, don't call me doggy. And he's like, alright, what is your name then? And he says, Nezu. And he's like, alright, Nezu, I won't hurt you. You remind me too much of her. And so like he just walks out, and he's like, so do you want to become a hero? And he says, why not? I mean, I'm already stronger than my dad. Punched a hole straight through him and my mother. And they're like, huh? Wait a minute. How are they both still alive then? And he's like, I healed them up completely. I can bring people back from life and death. What you think this is? Like, I can kill people, and I can just not even be trying. Like, but yeah. But yeah. So he comes back the next day, and he's like, alright, I thought it over. Sure. Alright, do I get a dorm or something? Because I'm tired of sleeping on the street. And they're like, wait, you slept on the street? Why is that? And he's like, I literally got sent to jail. Sent to prison for 5 years. Because of that nigga. Points at All Might and his mother, Inko. Not All Might's mother, but his mother. And they're like, you still are a villain. And he says, well, that's what All Might says. And she says, no, villains are much more tame than he is. He's a demon, a monster. And he says, call me a villain, and I'll show you what a villain does. Call me the devil, and I'll take you to where I live. Call me a monster, and I'll show you what a monster does to a human body. And like, it's just like this death glare. Like, I will kill you type of glare. Like, you ain't jack shit glare. Like, I will end you. Like, he wasn't even funny. Like, this nigga was just... yeah. Did I cut off something that I wasn't supposed to? Oh, they're talking about for the yellow piece. Never mind. But yeah. And they walk over to All Might and they say, "Hey, don't make that kid mad. He's literally stronger than you and everybody here. He literally got tired, and that's the only reason that we were able to tie him up. Because he got tired and wanted to go to sleep." And he's like, "No, that was because of Midnight's gas." And they say, "No, that gas wasn't even in him when we tested his blood." But he's like, "Nonsense, her gas is enough to knock out me." And he says, yeah, we understand that. That's why he is stronger than all of us." But yeah. And so he goes and Nezu, he shows him the room and he's like, "Hey, Nezu, don't you have a mansion behind here?" And he's like, "Yeah, that's my house." And he's like, "Oh, can I live with you?" And he's like, "Huh? Why would you want to live with me?" And he says, "You will probably be the closest thing that I have to a father." And Nezu, he get that heartwarm type of thing, heart squeeze. But yeah. So yeah. And he's like, "Fine." And he's like, "Really?" He's like, "Yeah." And not Deku, Zamasu, he just goes, "Thanks, Dad." And I swear to God, Nezu could die a happy man. Well, happy gerbil type thing. You get what I mean. But yeah, he could die a happy man.
Hello, children, settle down and open up your textbooks. I found some sound strategies to murder me, so let's look. If you need some inspiration, I am on the task. Karma, what's the rule about
discharging firearms in class?
We have some new students, better be on best behavior. You must understand that you are more than numbers on a paper. You're assassins and Korra Sensei, I am your creator.
But anywho, so he creates a bunch of stuff because there's a bunch of vacant space in this house, and he's like, "Yeah, I really have enough furniture for me, and it's quite small." And he's like, "Alright, I can fix that." And he's like, "You have money to do all that?" And he's like, "No, I have a creation quirk." And he's like, "So is that what those gauntlets are?" And he's like, "No, my inmates at the prison, everybody got along with me. And so everybody was really sad to see me go, and everybody made me gifts. And I've been visiting the prison for a week every month, because they were my first friends. They were the only people that truly cared about me at the time." And he's like, "My God, this boy has such a sad story. No wonder why he hates his father." And he just wipes off a small tear, and he just creates a bunch of furniture and a TV and a game console and all of this stuff. And he's like, "My God." And he's like, "Can you cook too?" And he's like, "Yup." He's like, "My God, this kid's the Holy Trinity." Explain this to me. Why would they want to give up a kid that's this perfect? And he's like, "So the rest of all my kids are only 6. You look like a fully grown adult. And he says, yeah, I'm able to change my height and appearance. And he's like, oh, so that's why you have so much muscle. And he's like, no, that's physical muscle. I don't fake muscle, I train. And he's like, nigga, what do you do to be this fit? Like, Jesus Christ. What's a good photo? These 3 are for a different video. Woohoo, you are gonna love me. I guess he's just as buff as Spawn in that picture. And so, like, his eye, like, he did have like a small purple like hill around it, and like he's like, what's that from? And he says, oh, Miss Todoroki launched a bunch of ice at me at the funeral of her daughter, and I was in love with her daughter, and her daughter was in love with me. We both look like fully grown adults, but I might as well explain it all to you. And so, like, he basically explains the whole reincarnation thing and all this and yada yada yada, and he's like, oh, so you two were lovers from a different dimension then? And he's like, yeah, somewhat. And, like, he just explains that, like, she thought that I should have been able to protect her, in which I should have. I failed her. I failed the lady that I loved. And like Nezu, like this man's fully like crying. And so like Nezu, like he hugs him and stuff, and he's like, I haven't cried in so long. It feels so different. And Nezu's like, it's okay to be human once in a while. Take yourself down from that god roll every once in a while. You'll find it a little nice. And so, Aizawa comes in and he's like, huh, what? And like, he didn't come to that meeting because like he was sleeping. So he's like, huh, what? The villain's here, he attacked Nezu. And he's like, no, he's not a villain, he's going to UA soon. And he's like, oh. And so, Deku, he used to like crying and stuff, and like Aizawa, like he like puts himself on the couch and like he lounges back and like he pets Zamasu on the back on his back, and he's like, he like just now realizes, crap, this kid has muscle, like. And so Deku, he goes and like he changes his skin pigment, so he basically looks like me. And he does have full access to my Super Saiyan forms. And so he just goes into Rose, and they're like, huh? What happened? And he says, oh, I just changed my skin pigment and to what the other half of me looks like. And they're like, the other half of you? he's like, yeah, there's technically 3 parts of me. And they're like, do you have split personality disorder? And he's like, I used to. Then they all figured out that they were just fragments. And they all fused back together. So it resolved itself. And they were just like, dang. Yeah. And so, like, he's still wearing the hoodie and stuff like that. And then he changes back to what he normally looks like. And they're like, we will never get used to that. And he's like, that's fine. But not you. Nobody's really used to me. And like, he chuckles and like, I'm gonna say like Aizawa, he just now realizes that, hey, they have video games, a gaming console, and like 70 different video games. And so he's like, can I make my own Destiny character? And he's like, yeah, I just carried over all my stuff. So yeah, just make your own class. Darn it, I guess I don't have my picture of my Titan, so I really can't show you what it looks like. Unless I do. But anywho, so Deku, Zamasu, he's like straight up popping off in Destiny. But yeah. Well, guess I don't. It's fine. So he goes, and he's just beating the crap out of everybody. Cause like they decide to like train him in like their different fighting styles. And like Deku, you can just just recognize all fighting styles and everything like that. So like he's a master of everything. And so he's just like decent, and then he just proceeds to whoop them all. And this is where I'm gonna leave it off. This has been probably an hour of recording. Love you all. See you later.